In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you, just for you.
Gary! Gary!
In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you, just for you. In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story, watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and room, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand.
Hello.
Hello everyone, it's Chris
Yeah.
and Jody. We're here to take your questions today, or your gardening questions. If you want to know how to plant something, what you can plant in a particular area, if you've got any plant pest and disease issues, fire away and leave your questions in the chat.
Garden design ideas, problem areas you don't know which plant to plant where.
Exactly.
Any of those sort of situations.
So we are streaming live on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube and X. So if you're on any of those platforms, feel free to drop your questions in the comments in the chat box, and we'll pick them up as we go. So Chris, I'm just going to have a quick look to see if there were. Yeah.
Oh, it's all right. It's okay.
All right. So I'll just refresh my TikTok so I can see a live stream. All right. We might kick off with first question. Where was it? Here. What are some eco-friendly ways to deal with garden pests?
My mum was a member of the Ferny Creek Horticulture Society, and they the ladies up there, what they used to do was that they used to this is to get rid of snails. A lot of people, the snails are coming out of hibernation at the moment and starting to rip people's gardens apart. And what they used to do was they'd get a bread and butter plate and sort of bury it in it, or put it in a depression in the garden, so it was just sitting there level with the ground, and they'd fill that bread and butter plate with beer.
Yep.
You know, just so that they'd be shallow on the edges and deeper in the middle. And what would happen is that the snails would come along and they'd smell the beer and they'd start drinking it. And then as they became more intoxicated, they'd go in deeper and deeper and deeper, and eventually they'd drown. And they found that was a really effective way of, I think it could be a waste of good beer, but it's an effective way of getting rid of snails. Is the bread and butter plate sort of half buried in the garden, so so it becomes like a little pond. Fill it up with beer, and out they come. And then, when I was a child working as a gardener for a lady, we had a terrible earwig plague one summer. Earwigs were everywhere, and they were eating everything, destroying people's gardens. At any rate, and this lady who I worked for, she was retired and she did the garden like a full-time job. She'd get up every morning and out gardening all day, every day, and she was happy doing it. She loved it. At any rate, but what happened with this earwig plague, somebody told her what to do. And what she did was, people used to eat lots of tins of things back in those days. So there'd be prune tins and fruit tins and spaghetti tins and all sorts of tins. And she'd take the lid off all the tins, and she'd screw up a bit of newspaper and throw it in the end of the put it in the end of the tin, and then in the sort of places, the sort of shady corners where the earwigs used to hang out, she'd put this tin with the paper in it, and then she'd get up in the morning and she'd go out with a bucket of boiling water and she would shake the tins into the boiling water.
Oh, gruesome.
Yeah, and the earwigs hated it, but
No doubt.
but she was the only garden, like all the other people we dealt with, my mum's garden included, were absolutely decimated by this earwig plague, and her garden was, she had them under control.
Wow.
By just getting up, which goes then years ago I was growing crops in the field.
Yep.
And I was having a bad caterpillar problem, and the caterpillars, they were big ferocious caterpillars, and they were eating holes in my crop, but they weren't so bad that I needed to spray the whole thing. And so I gave the kids, I think I gave them 5 cents each per caterpillar. And do you know that they had pocket money and I had very few caterpillars? Like they
Brilliant.
They picked buckets of them and counted them all into the bucket, and I had to pay for them bucket by bucket. And then the other thing was, when I was growing maples and nursery crops and that close to the house where the children were, I didn't want to use powerful insecticides and have them affected by it. So I got, back in the old days, there was stuff called Cleansel, which is pretty much just dishwashing detergent. So Cleansel, and so I used to buy Cleansel, and then I used to buy pyrethrum, and I'd use quite a hefty dose of Cleansel in my vat on the tractor, and then a bit of a twist of pyrethrum, just sort of topped off with pyrethrum, and then I would spray once 24 hours, like I'd spray once and then I'd spray again in 24 hours. And what that does is, with your aphids, they hatch very, very quickly. So what happens is that sort of the Cleansel and the Cleansel and pyrethrum, or dishwashing detergent you use now, dishwashing detergent and pyrethrum would contact kill all the stuff on your plants, but you'd have eggs that could survive and they'd hatch the day after. And so if you came in 24 hours afterwards and sprayed again, you cleaned the problem up.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you. I think that was very insightful. Now we've got...
Hey, could I tell one more?
Yeah, go for it. I think everybody wants to hear the answer.
Yeah, so another thing, and this is strange. This is sort of doo-da. Hard to believe, but true. What happened is that my partner once said to me that they'd read in a book somewhere that if you grow a crop of lettuce or cabbage or beans or whatever, there'd be a couple of them that wouldn't be worth harvesting or wouldn't be worth picking. And they said if you leave them there and let the bugs congregate on them, you can plant your next crop and they don't worry about it.
Yeah, because they've got somewhere
I thought that's got to be crazy. It's got to be nuts. At any rate, but I thought I'll do it at any rate. And I did it, and do you know it worked? Yeah,
it does. Because they've got a nice home in there. If you've got a nice home, why would you go somewhere else?
Well, yeah, I thought but they seem happy with that old beat. It made the veggie garden look kind of ugly, so that actually worked.
It does work. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've got a question on Instagram. How long do capsicum plants fruit and survive? I've had my plants for 3 years now, and they ripe tiny buds and stop growing. How can I help?
What's happened to them?
Capsicums. Oh, they've been in for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they've stopped fruiting and getting buds.
Could it just be seasonal?
I want to give this person a high five for if you're in any of the southern states and you've got your capsicums still fruiting, or have been fruiting for 3 years. High five. Yeah,
and if I wanted, what I would do before I chuck them out is you could try a bit of Miracle Grow on them and see if that still. Miracle Grow tends to shock plants into flowering and fruiting, and so all that's required is a bit of Miracle Grow to shock them back into action.
But they are. I think most people treat capsicums.
I've always treated them as an annual.
Yes. Yeah. So if you've got them going for multiple years, excellent. But if they're running out of steam, then we've got a range of chilies and things at the nursery here. You could have a look, come in and have a nose through what we've got, and get some new plants going.
Yeah, but give them a go with some Miracle Grow and see if you can stimulate them back into production. But maybe it's time to plant some new ones as well, because I've never heard of them going for years like that.
No, I mean, normally my capsicums will get into around like August, and they'll trick me into thinking, oh, they're gonna go into spring, and then it comes to spring and they just brown off and call it a day.
Yeah.
So then I get some new ones going. But yeah, so I hope that's been helpful. What else have we got going in here in the chat? TikTok. Oh, we've got so many questions on TikTok. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go to the top. Hi. Best hedge for frost-proof, fungus-proof, and about 2 meters tall.
Frost-proof, fungus-proof, and 2 meters tall. Frost-proof, fungus. Okay, cherry laurel, and I like that show on TV, Escape to the Country, and almost anywhere you go in England and you sort of look at these new properties, you'll see cherry laurel hedges. So cherry laurels must be there'd be areas of down to -16. So cherry laurels enormously fabulous for being frost proof. And they've got that hard glossy leaf, and they don't seem to get any funguses or anything on them. Like if you, say, in areas that are very wet in springtime, your Photinia can get that terrible black sort of stuff on it.
Black sooty mold.
Yeah, black sooty mold. Whereas your cherry laurels don't seem to get anything like that.
Right, excellent choice. Okay, Silky says, "Where's the tutu, mate?"
It's in the wash.
JJ, how can I get bougainvillea plants to thrive in pots? Excellent question.
Okay, I reckon you want to keep that pH up. So dolomite lime, and then a month later put on a good lot of NPK type stuff. You can use it to kind of punch them quickly into gear, a bit of power feed or something like that, combined with a bit of Osmocote, but give them a 1 month gap from the time that you put the dolomite lime on till the time you put on your NPK type fertiliser.
And we're definitely talking dolomite lime, not just your average lime that you get from the shop.
Yep, that's
you
right.
You can certainly get it at any of the big box hardware places, but dolomite, because it's sweeter.
Even by lime, I'm talking calcium. I've told people to put lime on and they've put lime juice on.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I can see how that happens. All right, so Joseph Anderson, how long does it take a young English box to grow big enough to turn it into a box ball?
Well, if I had little young tiny English box, I'd plant 3 or 4 or 5 together and make my box ball quicker, and that will really speed up the time. But I reckon a nice big box ball, if you multi-planted it from little tiny plants, I reckon 3 years.
3 years. Now, I like that idea. I've never thought about putting in multiples to get a bigger ball faster. Excellent. Thanks. You've taught me something now, Chris. All right, so Ilias Zilla, my tube stock viburnums, I ground planted in hard soil in autumn, and they are struggling.
Tube stock viburnums.
Viburnums, yeah. Planted in hard soil in autumn, and they're not doing very well.
I reckon it wouldn't be too late to dig them up with a good big clod of earth on them. Then dig really nice big holes, mix a bit of potting mix through it, whack a bit of soil wet on, a bit of Osmocote, and give them a fresh start.
So in a very heavy soil, we'd be talking about at least 6 litres of potting mix per plant, mixed 50-50 into the soil where you're going to put them back.
And digging them up, you don't want to, the tubes will have struggled but grown new roots into the heavy clay. So you dig them up with a really decent clod of earth and not disturb that clod of earth, and then replant them into that reinvigorated, loosened up soil.
Yeah, and I guess when I think about replanting things, I tend to go wide, so I don't have to cut any roots off if I can, and then get them get the soil prepared and get them back in the hole before they even realise that they're being pulled out of the hole.
That's the idea. You can do it before they know it's happened.
Yeah. And maybe give them a bit of a feed of liquid fertiliser, like sea salt or something. A
bit of sea salt, when you're mucking around with the roots on things, sea salt's real good.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. I hope that was helpful, Eliasilla. All right, Eileen, my young common jasmine just dropped its flowers. Will it flower again in summer?
No.
No. All right. Okay.
Now, if you want jasmine flowers in summer, try Chinese star jasmine. Beautiful,
Okay, so get a bit of
fragrant summer
variety in
flowers.
jasmine.
Yeah, and that's how people can have fragrant flowers on and on, is by using orange jessamine, using the different fragrant ones and lining them up.
Yeah.
But the old common jasmine, I've never seen it reflower in summer.
Okay, so try Chinese star jasmine for a bit of diversity in your jasmine flowers. All right, Ralph Borat. I was a delivery driver for a nursery, but kept planting my foot. I think that's a dad joke. All right, so A says, Chris, I know you from being on the radio since I was in school. Good to see you're alive, old man.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now,
Barely, but still alive.
Roadrunner, I think Roadrunner might have been on the chat last week, or maybe on our live stream on Friday. Do you sell dope plants?
I'm a bit of a dope, but I don't sell dope plants.
All right, so what else have I got here? Jason, he's asked, what are the best small trees for a driveway in the Mallee? And he's put about 6 meters tall.
I reckon if you're really short on for water out there, you would plant Melia azedarac, the white cedar.
Beautiful, yes.
And that would be, it's a beautiful tree, spring blossoms, lovely spreading tree. And it's a funny thing, it's a tropical rainforest tree, but that'll do great in the Mallee with very little water, like a bit of water to get it going, and then it'll look after itself out there.
Yep.
But then if I wanted sort of something exotic and I had a little bit of water I could put on, and not much water either, I'd use a sensation maple. Now a sensation maple is it's an Acer negundo, and Acer negundos were used to reclaim the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma back at the turn of the last century. So, and they planted something like 15 million of them when it was just a dust bowl, and reclaimed that dust bowl and sort of turned it back to sort of good land by using the box elder. So box elder is a sort of a desert friendly type tree that is lush and beautiful and has fabulous autumn colours. So that could be like a botanical wonder to have that out in the Mallee, as long as you had a bit of water.
So, Chris, last week I was at a lecture, a very nerdy plant lecture with Professor James Hitchmore out at Burnley campus, and he was talking about the type of plants that we need to prepare for. When the climate of Melbourne, the climates all over the place are going to shift. The types of climatic zones are going to shift as the climate changes. And so, like, in Melbourne 2050, 2060, our climate will be that of Dubbo right now. And so, everybody's going to be getting a bit hotter and drier. And what was interesting was he had a diagram up on the presentation, and he was saying that Acer negundo and also the Norway
Norway spruce?
The
Norway maple.
Maple, and they're both on that super hardy spectrum where they will actually be among the most suitable plants for us in that kind of climate.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I noticed around Shepparton and that where the Acer negundos particularly do fabulously when a lot of other maples do.
All right, I hope that was really helpful, Jason. All right, Romy to Homie, will jasmine grow well in a really shady area?
Chinese star jasmine, actually common jasmine, it goes a bit sparse in the shade, but it's pretty good in the shade. But Chinese star jasmine and Japanese star jasmine both thrive in the shade. And what's great about them is that they also thrive in the sun. So I often use them in my garden design as a ground cover, and often somebody will have a great big old tree in their front yard and a big bald patch in the lawn there, so because they can't grow grass under this big shady tree. And one side, but on one side of the tree it's going to be hot and sunny, and the other side is going to be cold and shady. And I plant them all the way through, and I find they do well in the hot sun and in the deep shade.
Right, excellent. Very, very helpful. Luke asks, half of my Ficus hilii flash hedge isn't growing at all. How do I get them growing?
Okay, so one problem that lots of people have in Melbourne, and Melbourne's becoming a very densely built up area and lots of two-storey houses, and so the most common reason why you'd find a hedge where one end was no good and the other end was terrific is that you might have a big tall building shading that one end of it. So, and in fact I had to do a garden design for a chap the other day, and he wanted ficus or lily pillies, and I said no, and I used cherry laurels, and the reason was that it was a big warehouse on one side of his property shading one end of it, and I knew that if I sold him ficus or lily pillies, that what would happen is he'd have this crook end of the hedge with a really good end at the other end. And so you really, if it's shade related, if it's shade, like it's going to be either water, soil, fertilizer, sun and shade.
Okay.
Now most likely is sunny at one end, shady at the other, won't grow in the deep shade. The other possible reasons are that lack of water at one end, or hard, compacted, difficult soil at one end, or no fertilizer at one end, or some combo of no fertilizer, hard soil, or something like that. So what I would do is I would look at the situation and say, is it shady there? Is there no sun there? And then if there's plenty of sun, then I'd be looking to water and fertilizer and correcting the nutrients in water and fertilizer.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So, Shrew Thravichu has said, I have native Australian shrubs, daisies and an olive tree in my front garden in Melbourne. The garden is north facing and has full sun. How should I water them and take care of them in spring and summer?
Right. Basically, the first thing I say to people is, what are you watering with? And a lot of people have got those little orange plastic guns, and if you get one of those plastic guns and put it on full and put it in a bucket, you'll find that it can take a minute and a half to fill a bucket of water. And basically, I've seen people out there watering with those guns, and you can see they're watering out there every evening in summer, and the garden's sort of wilting and drying and dying. And if you just take that gun off and use your finger, you'll find you'll fill that bucket in half the time. You'll probably fill that bucket in about 45 seconds. And if you go for a bigger hose, like a 3/4 inch hose, you'll find that you'll fill that bucket in 15 seconds. So the first thing is to get some water flowing. The next thing is, if the water's not going in, if it's not soaking in, if it's running over the surface and not soaking in, you could use a bit of soil wetter. And soil wetter is a chemical, it's an agricultural detergent that breaks the surface tension of the soil and water and causes the water just to soak in and make a nice deep, go in nice and deep. And then there's the type of watering. Like I had a guy who was actually a weatherman on TV, and I would have thought he'd know a bit more about it, but he had mop tops all around his house. He planted beautiful mop tops all around his house, and every so often one would die, and they were dying quite regularly, and he had lots of them, but they were just dying one by one. And so he asked me to come and take a look. He thought he had some sort of mop top disease. Anyway, what I went there is I found he had this lovely green lawn, but when I dug down an inch or so, it was dusty. So only the top inch was moist. And I said, how often do you water them? And he said, I water them every day. I said, how long do you water them for? He said, 30 seconds. And so I said, stop it. Stop it. I said, what you should do is water for about an hour or an hour and a half once a week. And what that would do is that would cause the water to, and these days I would have told him to use a bit of soil water as well, but that would cause the water to go in deep.
Yeah.
And so instead of watering like 30 seconds a day, the grass was fine because it was just getting just enough water to get by, but the trees were living, their roots were down in the dust.
Yeah.
And so watering, get your volume of water up, water quite intensely. Soaked hoses are great. Soaked hoses are a great way to put out lots of water, without you standing there, and putting it out sort of slow enough for it to go in. So water deep, water perhaps less often, but water effectively, and often if things are really, really dry and you find the water's just sort of not really going in, a quick water, leave it for an hour, then come back and give it a big water is a really great idea.
Excellent.
So all of that would help you. And then if you back up your water with a bit of slow release fertilizer, use some soil water to get the moisture in, and then a bit of slow release fertilizer to get your nutrients in.
Thank you. I think that's very helpful. All right, so we're back over on TikTok. S has asked, is it expected that early spring planting of ornamental pears, for half of the planting to be to have shoots, to have leaves and shoots, and the other half not? So one half is thriving and the other half doesn't sound like it's thriving.
Sounds like something's wrong.
Yes, maybe it's down to the soil preparation.
It could be, if one half is thriving, it could be often you'll see something strange like that, and you'll dig in one part and it could be swampy, it could be wet feet, or it could be terribly heavy clay or something like that, and the other part could be okay. Or the only other thing is if they were planted in two stages, where one lot was planted later than the other lot. But by now, most pears should be in leaf.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if they're not in leaf, there's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. It might even be worth scratching the trunk a little bit, just to see if there's green life still under the surface of the trunk.
Yeah.
Just scratch it gently, just with your nail, and if it's green, then there's still life in there, and there's still hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So Jefferson, my magnolia is dying outside in the Melbourne winter. Sad face. I think Jeff might be wanting to share, but also maybe hoping for a little bit of advice on how the magnolia can be saved.
Right, okay, so a magnolia dying outside in the Melbourne winter, a magnolia should love the Melbourne winter. So it's not, the Melbourne winter is not your problem. All magnolias come from countries that have cool winters.
Yeah.
And some of them come from countries that would have winters down to -15 or -20. So it's not the Melbourne winter. So one thing about this winter, it's been a dry winter.
It has been very dry.
Yeah, and I was kind of sad that it rained on Sunday because it's a big busy day. I kind of messed that up a bit, but I was happy also because that was the first decent rain I've seen since last Christmas.
Yeah, I know. It was really good. And I think, Chris, when you were talking about the watering and getting water down into the root zone before, I mean, it's just the same when it comes to the rain. If you've only been seeing that piddly little amount of precipitation, it's not enough to penetrate the soil.
Yeah.
Then that's not a real rain.
Yeah, my pot plants around the house, I've been watering them pretty much all winter.
Yeah.
Now, not that often, but basically it's been raining 2 or 3 times a week, but no volume of rain. And so, I won't have to water for a couple of days now because yesterday and last night we had beautiful volume of rain, and all my pots are heavy and wet.
Yep.
So I won't be watering I probably won't water till Wednesday or Thursday, and that's only if it doesn't rain. But this winter, I've had to, and same in the nursery, I've had to do more watering than I've probably ever done before in the winter. So possibly it's in a pot, or it's in a garden bed, and possibly it's actually dried out this winter. So the cold didn't hurt it, but the only possible thing I could think of that why a magnolia might die or suffer this winter is lack of water.
Yeah.
And certainly my pot plants would have died if I hadn't have watered either in the nursery or at home this winter. It's been often we turn off our taps for about 3 or 4 months with watering, in the winter, but this year it hasn't been like that. So plants, even though like it's been raining all week, some weeks, like raining here and there, I've gone out and found that my pot plants were quite dry. Because you need big volumes of water. You think about, you put the hose in there and you really concentrate that water in there. So light rain really doesn't do anything. It just wets the top and leaves the guts of it dry. So I wonder that if you didn't really give that plant a good soak, put a bit of nutrients on it and try and get it going. And I think if it's gone backwards this winter, I'd worry about dryness.
Great, thank you very much. All right, so Jacinta, good plant to disguise a unit block. Okay, hang on. Good plant to disguise a unit block decline under 2 metres in the Brisbane climate, and no lily pillies, please.
Right, a decline, was it a unit block?
Yeah, it's got here a unit. Right, okay, yes. And the next comment down fixes it all up. Good plant to disguise a unit block fence line. Autocorrect. There you go.
Line, right, okay.
Sorry about that, Jacinta. So under 2 metres, Brisbane climate, no lily pillies.
Okay. Orange jessamine.
Beautiful.
It absolutely thrives in Brisbane, and what I love about orange jessamine, I reckon have to be about 8 months of the year up there. It's all the year where you've got warm nights. About 8 months of the year, it's going to be dotted with white fragrant flowers that'll fill your whole garden with fragrance.
Yep, very good. Good choice. Estelle DJ, it's just a comment. Best landscaping theme for Sunshine Coast? Tropical.
I reckon sort of Brisbane, Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, there's a kind of an LA style of landscape, and I reckon that LA style really works there.
Yep, I agree. All right, so Christy is on Instagram. Ground cover for a narrowish dirt border between a path and a garden bed. Native, always green, no maintenance, mostly shaded, still easy to spot snakes on. They're in a 5-acre semi-rural block in the Barossa in South Australia.
Right, okay.
All right, so we're in South Australia, the Barossa, a ground cover in a narrowish bed, preferably native.
Urina.
Yep.
But preferably native. Actually, what I reckon, the ground cover that a snake can't get under or into, because it doesn't take much to hide a snake.
No, that's right.
Is Diamondia.
Diamondia, yes.
Diamondia is so flat, the snakes hate it.
Right, and it's very hardy too, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really tough, and it'll grow in sun or shade. And Diamondia is a little bit unusual, and we could actually post a bit across, some tubes across to you if you can't get it locally. So Diamondia is an interesting thing. It's in the Marguerite daisy family. It just has this very occasional tiny little yellow daisy, which is not that exciting. Lovely silver grey foliage, and it's a beautiful ground cover. You can do big expanses with it, and it's incredibly hardy. And like I've got a patch of it, and I drive the odd tractor wheel over it. I walk on it. I run on it. The dog plays on it. It's his favourite play spot, and it's really, really tough.
Excellent. Well, I was just trying to put that in the chat, and it. Oh, yep, there you go. I popped it in the chat. So that's over on Instagram if anybody's wondering. I put the answer to that question there, which is the Diamondia, the silver carpet.
Could you help this lady here, please? Can you see this lady?
Yeah, into the chat. All right, so just heading back to the chat. So, okay, Estelle DJ is back and has said, in the light of getting it hotter and drier, what can we plant on the Sunshine Coast that looks tropical but doesn't use a lot of water? We want wow factor with focal points and clever choices of plants.
Right, okay. So
we're on the Sunshine Coast where we want to look tropical but not need a lot of water. And wants wow factor.
Right, okay.
What about your We were working on a really lovely modern garden the other day, and we had the aloe Barber Day.
Yeah, so it's funny, I was here, and you know that video that we put up?
Yeah.
That is wonderfully tropical and wonderfully arid. Basically, this is something that we videoed down by the bay down in Port Melbourne, and it's full of colour. It's very, very tropical looking, but it's arid tropical, and it features an aloe barbarae, an aloe americana, and various little flowering aloes, some chalk sticks. Beautifully relaxed, low maintenance garden. Are you able to find that one?
Yeah, I think I've got that. I've got it now, and I'm just going to copy that.
So, and basically there's a whole mix of maybe 10 or 15 different sorts of plants that you'll see in this video that we'll connect you up to, and that would give you an arid but tropical garden, great for the Sunshine Coast.
Thank you very much, Chris. All right, so we are back on TikTok. Angus Sims. Hi, I live in South Australia, have a 70-metre frontage, and I want something nice but nothing huge.
No problem.
A 70 metre, that's a big frontage.
That is a big frontage,
and
yes.
you want something
nice but nothing huge.
Right, okay. You know, an interesting, simple little mix would be a snow pearl, which is a very compact, round, ball-shaped Indian hawthorn with white flowers in springtime and a nice, luscious dark green ball all year round, mixed with the Japanese pencil holly. Which is sometimes called a sky pencil, and that would give you a very, very simple, give you a series of lovely green balls flowering in the spring, and then beautiful sort of
upright fastigiate.
Yeah, upright fastigiate, you know, tall, skinny, like pencil pines, but green and lush like an English box, and they're called sky pencils. You mix it, so sky pencil and snow pearl. And snow pearl might be a bit hard to get over there. You could look at oriental pearl, but we can send snow pearls across there. So snow pearl or oriental pearl, lovely round green ball, white flowers, and those. And that would be low, and it would be low maintenance, and it'd be easy going, and great to span across 70 metres. And you wouldn't sort of plant one and one or the other. You'd probably do something more irregular.
Right. Now, we're over on YouTube now. So Tropical Voyager says, good evening from California. I love your shorts. They make me smile.
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right. So just, I've been putting a couple of these things in the chats of all of our various channels. So I'm going to move on to next question. Mr. Clicker, what can I grow under olive trees? Seems like the oil from the tree prevents a lot of other things growing.
I often under an olive I'll plant prostrate rosemary.
Yes.
It does really well, and I like it because I think it looks Mediterranean and feels Mediterranean and really goes with your olive.
All right. So Katie Emily Rickard has said, I missed my question. My phone died. How do I go back and listen? Well, you can replay. Our weekly Q&A, just like our flash sale on Fridays, are put up on YouTube after we finish the Q&As every week, and so you can go back and look at that later this afternoon. All right, so what else have we got here? So Estelle DJ said, thank you, Chris, really enjoyed listening to your lives.
Thank you.
Our live streams.
Thanks,
and
appreciate it.
Yeah, we answered some questions about the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
So that's been very helpful. Okay. We've got lots and lots of questions over here on TikTok, so I'll get back to that. Oh, so what is the most durable and toughest lawn grass?
I reckon kikuyu. Now, kikuyu presents its own set of problems. It's the one most likely to leap into your garden beds and take over. And I've seen it shoot up electric light poles, and I've seen it 6 or 7 metres up an electric light pole. So it has tremendous growth potential. It does well in the shade. It doesn't seem to worry if dogs urinate on it. And so you have to learn to contain it within the lawn, because it'll be the first thing to go spread all over the place. But contained in the lawn, you'll find that it's the cheapest. It's easy for the growers to grow, so it's the cheapest one to buy as turf. And you can buy some turf and just break it up into little runners and plant them everywhere. My partner did our back lawn. She didn't buy, instead of buying turf, she broke up some turf and got lots of runners and put them everywhere. And in no time at all, we had a kikuyu lawn. So kikuyu, and we planted kikuyu because we had some big dogs in there and they were wrecking the other grasses. So kikuyu is terrific stuff, but can be a bit invasive, so watch out.
Yep. Okay. So now, Abs for Usual said that we've misreading their question. We've been back and had a look. We couldn't see it. So Abs for You All. Perhaps you could post that again, and we'll pick that up. While I'm here, Raway Hori said, "Do you have proven winner products?" We do have some proven winner plants.
Yeah, we do.
In the nursery.
Yeah, quite a few. We have most popular ornamental plants here.
And I would say proven winners got some excellent cultivars.
Yeah, they do.
And I'd like to see more of them. Frankly, there's a lot in the States that we don't have here, and that's very sad.
Yeah, but the proven winner is great because people have tested them, and some new varieties and that get rushed to market and they turn out bits of fizzes. But proven winners are great because they've been tested.
Yeah. All right. So, Nanny says hello.
Hello, Nanny.
Okay, and Pud says, we have sheep. Can I use the manure fresh, or do I have to wait for it to age first for the fertiliser to turn that into a liquid and use that? It's great for your gardens and it gets into the plants.
Actually, I'll tell you my little sheep manure story.
Yeah.
My dad was establishing a large veggie patch when I was a kid, and somebody told him that the best manure of all was sheep manure. So he arranged to go to a sheep farm, and we had to go under the shearing shed, and there was like 100 years of sheep manure under there, and it was about a foot thick under the thing, and it was a horrible place to be as a kid. And anyway, we filled up bag after bag after bag of sheep manure, and we brought it home. We spread it on our veggie garden and cultivated it in, and what we got was an education. What happened was that we got the most ferocious growth of weeds that we'd ever seen. And the veggie garden was devastated by just an outpouring of weeds like no other outpouring of weeds. And then when my dad looked into it, he was only a young man then, but when he looked into it, he discovered that what it is cow manure. We'd always use cow manure, and cow manure may not be as rich as sheep manure, but cow manure, because the cows have 7 stomachs or 5 or something like that, and it goes through stomach after stomach after stomach, all the seeds are completely digested, and cow manure is completely clean. And sheep's only have, I don't know what they have, but they don't have what a cow has, and the seed passes straight through from front to back. And so I would say that you would do anything except put sheep manure in your garden, and I'm sure if you composted it and got those weeds to germinate or turn into a liquid fertiliser, you'd have the answer. But certainly watch out if you're putting sheep manure just straight into the garden, because you'll get every weed that's sort of in that area will be in that sheep manure.
So adding the sheep manure to actual compost bays and turning that and using that compost is better than just using it straight. But I think in Pud's situation, he was talking about using it as a liquid fertilizer, which you would put in you would just put a spade full into like a Hessian sack or a pillowcase or something like that.
Yeah.
And then put that into a bucket of water, let it steep and turn into like a tea coloured liquid, and then you take the bag out, hang it somewhere to dry, and then you put that liquid on your garden,
and that'd
that's
be
okay,
safe
use
and
fresh.
weed free. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on, we're heading over to Facebook now. So Stuart Goring says, "Hi there, thanks for your live feed. Looking for a mix of grasses and plants for my septic dispersion field. That's good. It's got a bell, and it's good for bell rating in Victoria.
What's bell rating?
The bell rating is the fire resistance. It's all about how we have to build to certain specifications. For the fire prone areas.
Yep.
Yeah, so the bell rating is something that we look at in terms of combustibility.
It doesn't burn. So what I would look at is Lamandra longifolia is a native that doesn't brown off or dry off. It stays green and lush all year round, so it'll be active sucking up, and whereas some of your grasses are going to turn brown and dry off at certain times of the year, and then at that time they're not really active, and plus they could possibly burn. So the first thing that comes to my mind is Lamandra longifolia. Then there's, what was the restringia that does well in the moist?
Restringia fruticosa, and also the callistemon, I think too.
Yeah. So the coastal rosemary would be very good, and then some of your callistemons, although they're very drought hardy, will take heaps and heaps of moisture, and all of those would remain pretty lush, or if they're in a nice moist situation, would say lush all year. They'd say lush all year, and they would be able to take up moisture all year and then not be highly combustible.
Okay. So Chris, recently I bought myself a copy of Leslie Corbett's Safer Gardens. And it's a fascinating book, and it's a reference book. Not going to sit down and read it page by page. It's not a page turner. But what it is a great reference to exotics and natives. And she talks about their combustibility, and so how long, when they were actually tested, their leaves took to ignite, and it was a fascinating read. So Leslie Corbett, Safer Gardens, if you might be able to pick it up at your local nursery, and if you at your local library.
Yeah.
And hot tip, because I was in local government for a long time, if your local library doesn't have the books that you're after, you can request them, and they'll get them in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great thing, and that's good, because there's all sort of stories around that certain things don't burn, and some of the ones that people think don't burn really burn very well. And so having an accurate guide to what burns and what doesn't burn is really, really good.
Very handy.
And what I remember when I was a kid, I was brought up at Mount Dandenong, and every couple of years we'd have a big bushfire, and the little weatherboard houses that would survive would be the ones that were surrounded by deciduous trees like elm trees and sycamores and things like that. If they had plenty of elm trees and sycamores, the leaves would all be burnt and cooked on them, but the house would remain. Whereas where they were surrounded by native trees, the houses went with the trees. So and you'd really see that there was just whole hillsides would be black, and that odd house surrounded by deciduous trees would still be there.
Well, I was finding it very fascinating reading through that book, because I was finding a lot of exotic plants that I would otherwise think would be more fire retardant, and they turned out to be actually quite combustible.
Yeah.
So it was very insightful.
One of the things that if you were in a particularly fire-prone area, and and the fire was going to come from the northern side of your property, I reckon that things like silver birch or ulnus, ALNUS, with sprinklers on them, so that they were not only are they a plant that retards a fire, but if you add a sprinkler on them, that would really retard the fire, would be a fabulous protection against. And a nurseryman I know in Marysville was virtually wiped out by a bushfire that swept through it.
Yeah.
And what happened was he saw the fire coming, and he panicked, and what he did was he turned his tractor on, which was hooked up to his irrigation system, put his tractor on full bore, put all of his sprinklers on and left. And came back and there was nothing much left around him, but his property he had it full of maples and birches and things like that. And the fact that they had wet leaves, his whole property and all his equipment, everything was left intact.
Right.
And it was a combination of being wet and being plants that didn't burn particularly well.
Yep, so we can get around fire. We just have to be very smart about it. All right, so Taliana, looking for a hedge that's a bit different from the norm, maybe variegated and not too wide.
So different from the norm. Something very, very different, and what I've noticed that in English gardening magazines would be and it's your Prunus nigra. Prunus nigra could be trimmed into a beautiful hedge, a beautiful, quite narrow, beautifully shaped, 1.5 to 3 metre hedge, but it will lose its leaves in the winter. But it's got lots of little red branches, but then it'll be covered in fabulous pink blossom, and then by August you'll have beautiful purple foliage all over it, and that would be a very, very unusual hedge in my opinion, to have that. Variegated and unusual. What could you use? Variegated.
That Pittosporum, is it Tassie Devil? What's the
Russell, Tasman Ruffles. But I see Pittosporums aren't that unusual. I reckon there's a Westringia called Smoky.
Oh yes.
So and there's a couple of different variegated Westringias. So if you wanted an unusual hedge that was tall and narrow, I would look at very unusual, something like a Prunus nigra.
Yep.
And if you Google that, they do make beautiful hedges. Very rare in Australia, but beautiful hedges, beautifully trimmed up plant. It trims up really, really well. But one of your variegated Westringias, like Westringia Smoky, they're very dense and bushy. They can trim up into quite a narrow hedge, and you'd find that a really hardy, long-lived hedge that was quite unusual.
Yep. Okay. And I think we're coming to the end of our time now.
3 more.
3 more, okay. So Stuart has jumped back in and said, thank you for that, guys. All that info is fantastic. You're both a wealth of knowledge. Love watching your Facebook shorts.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, Stuart. Okay, right, back over to TikTok because we've got quite a few things over here. Right, weird question, but how do I slow the growth of a Thai constellation? She's getting huge. Chop her up and sell her. I think the Thai constellation, you'll make a small fortune.
Yeah. Start propagating off it. That's a great way. My dad's garden used to have lots of shrubby, bushy plants because he used to propagate 1 million plants a year.
Yeah.
And the propagation of plants quickly shrinks them.
Well, I mean, if you've got enough propagation material, I think you could pretty much, dust off your mortgage with by undercutting everybody on Thai constellation cuttings.
Yeah.
I hope that's helpful. All right, Ness have just had some yuccas removed, looking for a grass or strappy plant that doesn't go mad.
Doesn't. Oh, actually, I kind of have crushes on different grasses and use them mad. And what I really like at the moment. And it's because when I've been out doing deliveries, I've seen mature ones, and often a cute-looking grass in the nursery, you see it mature a year or 2 or 3 down the track, and it's quite awful. But the one that I'm seeing that I really like the look of as a mature grass is white sands.
White sands, beautiful.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful when you buy it. Some of the grass is beautiful when you buy it, not so beautiful later on. But it's white sands looks great when you buy it, and looks great in 2 or 3 years' time. And it adds a really interesting sort of flavour or twist to a garden.
Yeah, it's very nice, and it's so similar to that the liriope, the variegated liriope, which you can't you can't use out in the full sun like you can white sand's good having that as an
The
alternative.
white sand's really versatile. It does well almost anywhere.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we've got Jay. 3 native trees for coastal areas north of Brisbane, high drought, invasive roots for under 2 metres a narrow block.
That's a tough question. I'm thinking it would need a bit of trimming, but I'm thinking that a sentinel,
Sentinel, Banksia sentinel,
again a bit more trimming, a blueberry ash.
blueberry ash, that's Eleocarpus,
Yep. And give me one more.
callistemon.
Ah, yes.
I think callistemons.
Yeah, like a callistemon slim. All of those would need a bit of a trim to keep them under 2 metres, but all of them could be kept beautifully as under 2 metre trees and do well in a coastal situation and all be beautiful flowering and attractive trees.
There you go. All right, so let's go. Champ has asked, what's the best way to deal with crabgrass?
Crabgrass, we don't have it this far south. We're getting up into helping the Queenslanders.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's crabgrass?
Yeah.
That's my Victorian ignorance
Let's
coming
Google it and find out.
All right. Now, while I'm looking that up, Mr. Moo 6000 has said hello.
Hello.
And has asked, what is the most sold plant in your nursery?
Gee, English box.
English box, really?
Yeah. We
We
sell
need
them
to
by
break that habit, people. There's so
we
many better options.
We sell them by the truckload. But probably what would be more interesting, what would be the second best selling plant in the nursery?
I'm going to let you go top 3.
Okay, so...
Ignoring English box, because...
Okay. I reckon that the lime lava would rate very, very highly. Lime lava is a scleranthus and it's kind of a mossy. I'll just grab one and show you. What else is really on trend at the moment?
Oh, I love that. Jay says a great crabgrass killer is to be watered in pool salt.
Try it, yeah.
And that's a very funny answer, and I like it a lot. Scleranthus biflorus, the lime lava.
Yeah, lime lava or Zen moss, and that's a sort of a sun-loving moss, and we can never get enough of it. Like we can't even get the bench full because people buy them so quick.
Yeah.
And then I reckon, as a collective, Japanese maples. Like we have maybe 50 different varieties of Japanese maple here, but if you added them up collectively, all the different sorts, they're on every other sale that we do is people buy 1 or 2 or 3 Japanese maples, and so Japanese maples very, very popular, and people are putting them into Japanese style gardens and all sorts of other sorts of gardens.
All right, I've got some intel here.
Yep.
So in our top 10 plants that are sold in the nursery is Asiatic jasmine.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would be a lot to do with my garden designs because, like, I did a garden design. I do garden designs and I put 80 or 100 Asiaticum into it because I love that as a way of covering a large area.
And also Lomandra tunica, a great.
Yeah, and Tunica
plant.
would be one of the top selling plants in Australia.
Yes, definitely.
And Tunica is a really useful landscape plant that stays green and lush all year round under the toughest conditions in the poorest soil. So it's one of the most reliable landscape plants you can buy.
And if anyone's been down to our nursery in recent weeks, this will be no surprise, but French lavender. Lavender's been flying off the shelf here in recent weeks.
Yeah.
People have been absolutely loving it, and there's some great new cultivars as well.
Yeah, lavenders as a collective would absolutely be top sellers. We sell heaps of lavender.
Yeah. All right, so now Chris, I will just go over this one more time because we were talking about the crabgrass, and while you were grabbing the scleranthus, Jay on TikTok has said a really good crabgrass killer is for it to be watered in pool salt.
Wow.
Yeah, and I enjoy that answer because, it's, it's not going to stick around a long time, I guess.
Yeah.
So
a bit of pool salt.
yeah, Okay, you can give that a go. I hope that is helpful. So thank you to everybody for tuning in today. We've really enjoyed the chat, all your questions. It's been a real breadth of questions that have come in. We are going live again as usual.
And with a gorilla.
We're going live with the gorilla. The gorilla's going to be back. Now I
Yeah.
heard this gorilla has been hanging out at the Bolshoi Ballet in Moscow.
And it can dance.
And yeah, he knows how to bust a move. So if you want to see Chris, the gorilla, and the over 100 plants that are going on sale at 12 o'clock on Friday, then tune in 12 o'clock on Friday on any of these social platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X. We're going to be here and we're going to be busting through that list. So don't miss it. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
And what it is, I explain each of those 100 specials so you can, and the idea is so that people can, we try to do it so that people can do a gardening project on the cheap by using plants that are, and we have we have trees, we have hedges, we have roses, we have all sorts of plants on special on the day.
Now, very important, we are back every Monday for this Q&A. So if we've missed any of your questions, we've got a few platforms to keep up with. So if I've missed any along the way, or we just haven't had time for a question, and you think of something during the week, even come back, stick it in the chat next week, and we look forward to answering those questions then. Thanks very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.